So we're here at a table, a round table at a place called Studio at 19th and I Street, and we're actually here in front of a live studio audience as well. So let's give that studio audience a hand too. And Mayor Bowser, as you said, the reason we're doing this as a roundtable is because this plan actually incorporates the input of over 1,000 stakeholders. So the people around the table today represent those voices that were heard throughout this planning process that happened over the course of 2022. And what we're going to do to get us started is go around just so folks can quickly introduce themselves, and then we'll get right into it. And we'll start with Councilmember McDuffie and go around the table in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Mayor Bowser, for assembling this today. I think this is great. I'm glad to be a part of it. My name is Kenya McDuffie. I'm at-large council member, and I also represent the District of Columbia Council as the chair of the Council's Committee on Economic Development and Business.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brooke Pinto. I'm the Ward 2 council member. Welcome to Ward 2. We're thrilled this event is happening here, and really looking forward to being part of today's discussion and having a shared collaborative effort onto all of our shared goals of reinventing and bringing back our downtown.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt Fruman. I'm the new Ward 3 council member, fresh off the boat and looking forward to learning and getting behind and helping to support this important effort to strengthen our economy.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jaron Price, and I serve as President and CEO of the Downtown DC Business Improvement District.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Babatunde Oloyede. I'm the President and CEO of Marshall Heights Community Development Organization. Pleasure to be here, and just wanted to say that we've supported every mayor since home rule, so we're looking forward to supporting Mayor Bowser.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Smith, and I serve as the Executive Director of the DC Workforce Investment Council.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rahma Bright. I'm the founder and CEO of Yaleen Beauty, which is building the first commercial beauty manufacturing space in our entire country. And we're strategically placing it in Ward 7 so that we can support Black and brown founders in the beauty industry. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christina Grant. I'm the State Superintendent of Education for Washington, D.C.
Good morning, everyone. I am Oswaldo Acosta, the CEO of City First Enterprises. We are a close partner to the city. Among other things, we have been managing the grants, the Small Business Bridge Grants, the Commercial Property Acquisition Fund, and the Housing Support Grant. And I'm proud to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tanya Vidal-Kinlow, and I'm the Vice President of Community Engagement, Advocacy, and Government Affairs at Children's National Hospital. And I also serve as the new chair of the board of the District of Columbia Chamber of Commerce, and very excited about the work that we're going to get to do with each other today and the rest of the year.
Hi, I'm Christina Noel. I'm the Executive Director of the Anacostia Business Improvement District, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Unique Morris Hughes, and I am the Director of the DC Department of Employment Services.
Great. So then good morning, everyone. I'm John Ackerley, the co-founder and CEO of Virtue Corporation, which is a data privacy and a cybersecurity company. And like the great city of DC, we like to say that we sit at the intersection of policy, business, and then driving positive social change, and really excited that we are tripling down on our DC presence.
Good morning. I am Sharon Carney. I serve as Chief of Staff in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development.
Good morning, all. My name is Antoine Ford, President and CEO of Enlighten Incorporated, a technology firm located in beautiful Anacostia at the MLK Gateway. Also serve as the board chair for the Workforce Investment Council.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anita Cozart. I'm the director of the Office of Planning here in the district.
Good morning, everyone. Tiffany Williams, President and CEO of Martha's Table.
I'm Steve Gladday. I'm President and CEO of the Coalition for Nonprofit Housing and Economic Development. We represent 95 nonprofits and 16 mission-driven for-profits here in the district.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Mahoney, and I just want to start off a little different. usually people come on and they introduce themselves and they say who they are, like I am this, I am that. You know, they speak of all the great things that they've done and all the contributions that they have made. But me, I'm not afraid to say who I was, and I want to speak on who I was. I was down, you know. I didn't have no self-esteem at one point. I was misguided. I was led astray. You know, I was run amok, and I had no confidence at one point. You know, and that's just the truth. And I'm not afraid to sit up here in front of all you guys and now say that, you know, I am confident. You know, I am that leader in the community that I know I could be. You know, I am here to stop the violence. And that's all due to one great person in the District of Columbia, and that's Mayor Bowser, someone whose leadership and just great guidance have uplifted the youth like me in the community. You know, I am the community. I am the voice of the voiceless. I am the child that's in Ward 7 and Ward 8 who doesn't really have a voice. I am that person. So when you ask who I am, I'm an advocate as well as an IT apprentice with the company Build Within, who's gotten grants from Mayor Bowser to help individuals like me to sit up here amongst guys, you know, great people like you know, yourselves. So when people ask who I am all of you. You know, and it's all thanks to Mayor Bowser, you guys. So I was like,
Well, I want to thank you for those kind remarks, Jeremiah, but we all around this table know that we are here to help, but you are the change in your life that brought you to this table. So let's give Jeremiah a big round of applause. And I want to thank you all for being here as well, and my team who we're going to hear from throughout this morning. I want to recognize and thank the council members for being here as well. And it's really my honor to present to you today our 5-year economic development strategy. And it is indeed the plan for the district's comeback. You have heard me talk a lot about how important this next 5 years is in the district, how we will transform parts of our city and stay focused on our values, the values that have transformed Washington, D.C., and will bring it back. We're right here in beautiful Penn West, and we are in the Penn West Equity and Innovation District. And this is where we will be leveraging existing economies and infrastructure to spur ideas for growth, development, and growth and development that is inclusive. We have provided already a $2 million grant, and we're partnering with the Golden Triangle bid. Let's hear it for the bid here in Golden Triangle. As well as George Washington University. So let me just say on the next slide what you'll find. We are talking about what we want for our city. We want it, of course, to be a city where everybody can live, all races, backgrounds, beliefs, and giving everyone a chance to achieve their full potential. We are an urban center, and we like it that way, and we want to be a destination of choice for job creators as well as visitors and residents, in a place where people continue to choose to live, work, visit, and thrive. Even more people. And we are talking about, and I know Chairman McDuffie and I share this view about what economic development should be for our city. It is about improving our well-being, and that's everybody, the residents, of course, and generating the tax revenue that it takes to support our programs and services. You may have heard me talk this week about how important it is that we have a robust tax revenue base, because it is that base that has allowed us to have world-class investments in our schools, gold standard in social programs, in transportation and amenities that have led to the renaissance of Washington, D.C. So this economic strategy is a tool for setting goals and priorities, and it is an action plan. So in this strategy, we will set out 6 bold goals to achieve, and they're not just to talk about, they're to achieve these goals in the next 5 years. So let's talk about what they are. We will make, first of all, key investments in our businesses, in opportunity-rich neighborhoods, and in the people of the District of Columbia. Our first goal will be to add 35,000 new jobs in high-growth target sectors. Pay attention to the sectors we're talking about, because you'll hear them again and again when we're talking about school investments, even when we're talking about transportation and housing investments. How do they align to the places where we know that we can grow jobs? And when we talk about growing jobs, this means more DC residents having the opportunity for good paying jobs so that they can afford the wonderful quality of life that we have in the district. So those target areas are in education and research, communications and design, consulting, hospitality, tourism, and entertainment, in the life sciences and health, and in technology, including cyber technology and AI. Our second goal is to increase the number of minority-owned businesses in the district to 33% of all employer businesses. Right now, about 27% of our businesses are minority-owned, and we know when we include that number, we also will include the amount of dollars that circulate in the city and the number of DC residents hired by those employers. So between 2017 and 2019, the number of minority-owned employers grew from 3.6% annually. And so reestablishing this rate of growth alone could put us on track to hit our goal by 2028. Our third goal is broken down into 3 separate goals. The broad goal is to eliminate amenity gaps across all neighborhoods in the city. I frequently say that DC is more affordable when every neighborhood has the amenities that people expect. Great grocery stores, a great school, great park, great transportation, and they are safe. And so we are specifically focusing in this plan on 2 areas, and that's closing the gap in broadband internet access and closing the gap in food access. And the first part of the goal is to ensure that every resident in Ward 7 and 8 lives within 1 mile of a grocery store. Last year, we celebrated the opening of Lidl, which you can see pictured there, one of my favorite pictures. And that's at, of course, Skyland in Ward 7. We estimate that reaching this goal will require us to add 2 or 3 additional grocery stores. The second part of the goal involves ensuring that all DC residents have equitable access to affordable high-speed internet. And we know that the internet is more than, whatever the new social media app is, but it increasingly connects people to health services, mental health services included, to jobs and job training, into the world. And so this divide in access was made very clear as we responded to the pandemic. We also know that most people have access to a smartphone or internet-enabled device. An additional focus on how people, whatever their device, can have access to affordable internet is important. So we must, of course, continue to work on our focus over the last eight years on access to affordable housing. And we will do exactly that. And I know I can count on the members of the council to be right there with us. And part of that means reaching our citywide goals laid out in the Housing Equity Report that we issued in 2019. In places where affordable housing is already concentrated, we of course have to add more resources. I was proud that we were the first in the nation to have a planning area, a neighborhood by neighborhood goal for affordable housing. And we've been very transparent about how we're getting there and what we need to hit our goals in all of the areas. Our next goal, the fourth goal, I announced in my inaugural address, and that affects the downtown specifically, and that is to add 15,000 residents and 7 million square feet of residential units and residential opportunities in the next 5 years. And so one of the lessons we learned during the pandemic is that mixed-use communities are more resilient in the face of adversity. And right now, the downtown is very, very heavy in commercial. 92% of the property in the downtown is commercial and only 8% is residential. And we know we need a better balance. So let's be clear, however, the downtown is the economic engine of our city, and our city will rely on our ability to find new ways to use these spaces, to fill these spaces, and to bring people back to a 24/7 economy. You heard me, 24/7. Heard it here first. And growing our downtown will help us reach a new citywide population goal of 725,000. We all recognized and were concerned about a dip in population during the pandemic where people went, I don't know where they all went, but I can tell you what, they're coming back. Already, they're coming back. And the last census update showed that we had 3,000 residents, newer residents, and our schools population data is the largest since we started recording it again in 2007. So we know that our families are coming back as well. And growing the population will require a focus on a particular age group in the 20 to 34, which accounted for a substantial part of our out-migration in the last few years. So our young people ages 20 to 34 is very important. So reversing those trends and keeping people in D.C. Has to be our focus. You heard me talk about making sure that we had investments for families and middle-income people who we know choose to live a lot of different places, and we want them to always choose Washington. And finally, our sixth goal is to increase economic prosperity in Black residents in D.C. by $25,000. There is, and we talk a lot about the wealth gap, but there is also obviously an income gap between white families and Black families. And we set the goal of increasing household income by $25,000 for Black families in the next 5 years. We launched recently the Black Home Ownership Strike Force with specific goals around home ownership, and we know that too will help us close the wealth gaps. So there will be a lot of discussion and a lot of work to get there. And on the next slide that we will share with everyone on our website is an exhaustive list of some strategies that we are, it's not exhaustive. It is a select list.
As long as he's not exhausting.
It's a preliminary list of strategies that we know work and are working. And it helps us start the conversation amongst ourselves, but also with our colleagues on the council about how we stay focused and work together hand in hand. So I do want to turn now to Councilmember Kenya McDuffie, who chairs the council's Business and Economic Development Committee, for some thoughts, and then I think we're going to have a conversation. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Let's give Mayor Bowser a round of applause for that presentation. So I'm excited, Mayor Bowser, and I really appreciate you again bringing together this group of individuals who helped to contribute to this strategy and this plan. And as the chair of the committee, the council's Committee on Business and Economic Development, I'm excited because I think sometimes when people look at the District of Columbia, they think that everything's going very well, and I think there's a lot to be said about how well things are going. But I still think that we need to be planning for a comeback, and we need to be planning to attract more residents to the District of Columbia. We need to be planning, and this strategy, I think, reflects our desire not only to keep and grow existing businesses like some of the ones that are around this table, like Enlighten and like Virtue, because they are driving employment in our city, but we also need to be thinking about how we attract new businesses to the District of Columbia. And what I'm seeing in what you have laid out here includes those things. It also contemplates, which I think is incredibly important, and we've already taken some steps together, both as a council and you as a mayor with your team, how we're being intentional in investing in Black-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses, and making sure the economy and the district's investments are reflecting the beautiful diversity that exists in our city. And you're doubling down on those things. Talking about a goal that you laid out to increase Black household income by $25,000, that's bold. And I hope folks won't gloss over some of the things that you've included in here. They'll spend some time with it, let some of this stuff marinate, because I think when you think about the future of the District of Columbia and what you've laid out and what is not a one-year plan, but a 5-year plan, I think there's some major things that I look forward to working with you all on. I also want to highlight some of the work you're doing on grocery stores. You said the Lidl photo was one of your favorite photos, and it was a great ribbon cutting. But I also think it really reflects the investments that you've made and your teams have made to expand access to healthy food options to everybody across the District of Columbia. And that's incredibly important as well. And so there's lots of things that can be highlighted in here. I look forward to working with my colleagues at the council. As you mentioned, we have both Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto, where her ward encompasses our central business district, and she has a large concentration of businesses. We also have been joined by Ward 3 Councilmember Matt Fruman, and my friend and my neighbor in Ward 5, at-large Councilmember Anita Bonds. And so as a council member, I want to just say I appreciate you and your team's work to put this together. Obviously, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with it, going through it. But I think this conversation is important too, because you've got people around the table who not only help contribute to what's in here, but are going to be the ones who are helping to implement and hire and drive our local economy. And so I want to say thank you again. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think next is, we're going to turn to Councilman Pinto.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Councilor McDuffie, and thank you, Mayor Bowser, for this very exciting presentation. I think it really speaks volumes. I think you said 1,000 different participants were involved in thinking about what comes next, and I think that diversity of perspectives is really important as we think about a sustained recovery and investment. I'll just add, I think it's also important that we at this table and those in DC who are watching speak with one voice to folks and industries outside of DC, that we are open for business and that we are excited to have you come here and employ DC residents and open up offices in the Central Business District and across the city. And so I'm thrilled that many of us are on the same page with that shared focus. One of the things that was included on this last slide about the larger mission is to make doing business easy in the District of Columbia. And that is really important. The council just passed my bill, the BEST Act, a few weeks ago, and we're looking forward to making sure that gets funded soon to make sure that entrepreneurs in DC have a cost-effective, intuitive process to get their businesses opened, which is really important to make sure we have the best businesses, the best ideas flourishing. Want to speak briefly to your idea about bringing 35,000 new jobs. So 35,000 new jobs. We are so excited to hear that, and I think that there's a lot of collaboration that needs to happen to invest early in the pipeline for what those jobs can look like. Whether that's making sure that our DC students have the vision, can see what those jobs are for them in these different industries, and have jobs and partnerships with employers waiting for them when they get out of school, when they get out of needed licensure programs. And so looking forward to diving in to that piece of the strategy. And lastly, I'll just say, Mayor Bowser mentioned this at the outset of how important it is to have resilient and safe neighborhoods. Safety needs to continue to be one of our top priorities in all of our neighborhoods across the district, to make sure that our residents can thrive, our businesses can thrive, and that people want to locate here, want to do business here, and see a future for themselves and their families in the city. So thank you very much, and I'm really excited for much of this.
So, Mayor, we're going to start the conversation with some of our stakeholders around the table. It's going to be a natural, free-flowing conversation that you always have in front of lights, cameras. So with that, I'm going to go to the focus areas. I'm going to cue some folks to speak, but if you have something, let's jump in and let's all be part of this conversation. So the first focus area, Mayor, and just to step back for 1 second, one thing too, and I think Councilmember McDuffie alluded to this, a lot of times people say we did a plan and we had equity as a lens. Well, when you look through the focus areas and the goals, equity is actually the driver of the plan, Mayor. So really want to thank the stakeholders for bringing that to the forefront. So I'm going to turn to Antoine to talk a little bit about his work, what he does, and his decision about where he located his company.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It's really important, and you see embedded within the goals of this particular program the inequities that are here. And so part of locating Enlighten as a tech firm to Ward 8 in beautiful Anacostia was to address some issues when it comes to being able to avail individuals who never thought they could work for a tech firm, do cybersecurity, system engineering, to expose them to what we are, that we can exist. And I think that was important. So when people walk by, all of a sudden, they're like, what is Enlighten? We're a tech firm. But you're located on the corner of MLK and Good Hope Road. And from that perspective, we're able to change the hearts and minds of individuals. And when the mayor gave the goal of raising 35,000 new jobs, we focused on the tech sector. We talked about the wealth gap. I think when you are conscious about where you locate, you want to be closer to the people because you're bringing to them the hope and the opportunities so that at the end of the day, they're looking at, wow, I can stay home in the neighborhood that I grew up in and see a change coming to that neighborhood. And I think those things were important to me.
And I think Jeremiah said, well, I got to jump in. And if we do one thing today, it's make sure Antoine and Jeremiah connect.
Well, I saw IT Apprentice, so I was going to say come to me anyway. What about virtual? No. John, can we share?
We have plenty. Let me be the first to tell you, we have plenty of talented DC residents that are ready to work.
Yeah, we have so many.
I got everybody covered. In this
Now we definitely got. I was just wanting to say, Mr. Antoine, it's just from what I see, it's just about getting people to know, and from what I see in the community and a lot of the youth, they just don't know. They don't have the knowledge about these type of programs because they're so caught up with other things. I just think if we can get some type of, because it's plenty of outreach programs, but if we can get through to them, really get through to them and say, hey, look at this guy, he can do it. Like me, for example, when people see me in my neighborhood, they're, wow, he's sitting next to, the mayor, the deputy mayor, he can do it. This is real proof. So I just feel like when the real proof is there, then they will believe. But until then, I just feel like they don't believe, Mr. Antoine. We got to get them to believe. That's all.
I think, Jeremiah, you'll hear some people here, when you locate near them, it's not outreach, you're home.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. Unique, did you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I do. So, Mayor, I was really struck by what you said last week in your inauguration speech about winning. And the reality is that the comeback is here, but we've been winning. Unemployment is at a single digit in Ward 7. When you started prior to 2015, it wasn't that. It was in deep double digits. And so Jeremiah is one of our apprentices that through ARPA investments, Mayor, that you've directed, we've been able to fund more young people in IT apprenticeships, but in non-traditional sectors. Part of the work that we're doing at the DC Department of Employment Services is focusing on building talented human capital in the District of Columbia. I am convinced that we will have more than 35,000 people who are talented and ready to compete for those jobs. But in order for us to get them ready to compete, we need our CBOs, we work hand in hand and we're lockstep with the education cluster and education agencies to get our young people prepared. So we are winning because we know how to win. And we're going to continue to win, but I am confident we'll have more than 35,000 Jeremiahs ready.
For sure.
And so the mayor has tasked Unique and I with jobs. She says I have to create them, and Unique's got to fill them with DC resumes.
That's it.
So we are creating some jobs, and John has decided to make sure that his company is a DC company. And we actually are proud to announce today that he's the first recipient of the Vitality Fund.
All right. Thank you very much. And it is a real honor and it's a real responsibility as well to be the first recipient. And the theme of then winning and the comeback has been coming. I will say it does not come with without a lot of hard work and a lot of micro decisions. So then along the way by the mayor. For example, when we first got our business started, my brother and I, who was a former NSA engineer, we were funded by a Silicon Valley firm that will go nameless right now, who required that we move to Palo Alto. We said no to that, and we convinced them why. But in 2015, when we first met, and you created a forum for companies like ours at the South by Southwest to really promote what we DC was doing, that was one small step. And fast forward, 8 years and having the opportunity to really triple down, not just through the Vitality Fund that was a real catalyst, but this overall bold strategy to really create a space that is not an office space so much as a place where business as a team sport we can bring in the community, particularly in the cybersecurity world. It is really about engagement. And so it's going to become a real engagement hub in Ward 2, right in downtown DC. So super fired up, and thank you very much for your leadership.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so it's important that we talk about tools. People will hear me talk about the tools that we need in our toolkit. And as much as we like to think sometimes that we're the only place in the world, people and businesses have choices. They can make choices to be a lot of different places. And so what's important is that the wonderful team that we have working with us can sit across the table from an employer and say, listen, I know you're thinking about this place or that place, but this is why DC is where you should be. And this is how we can make it easier for you to make the choice you already want to make. They want to locate here, and they have to sometimes make economic sense or logistical sense. And tools like the Vitality Fund help us do that. So congratulations again.
Rahma?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to hop in because when we're talking about increasing the number of jobs to 35,000 new jobs in the district, one of the things that's really important is to also look at new industries and developing new industries and not just the industries that have been here. And I just want to thank the mayor's office and the deputy mayor's office for investing in local manufacturing, because DC is not known for manufacturing, but there's tremendous opportunity to support new job growth in manufacturing, specifically around beauty, which is an industry that has been growing. It grows at around 5% every year. And one of the things that I read recently in a McKinsey report is that inequality in the beauty industry is a $2.6 billion opportunity. And so that $2.6 billion opportunity also touches on one of the areas of the strategy, which is looking at inequality. It's looking at creating opportunities for Black and brown business owners and Black and brown founders. And so I want to just say a huge thank you to Sabangale and Deputy Mayor Falchicchio for investing in the Yaleen Beauty Makerspace, over $620,000. And we also received funding through the Washington Area Community Investment Fund in partnership with Walmart, $1 million grant to invest in building this facility in Ward 7 that will give opportunity for business owners in the beauty industry who don't have access to manufacturing resources and solutions. And here's the thing, you can't sell what you can't make. And so manufacturing is critical to achieving some of the economic growth that is highlighted in this plan, and I'm really excited to bring something new and put DC on the map for beauty.
All right, excellent.
John, could I add to that? I think it's really important that
Oh yeah, just the mic a little closer.
it's really important that the expansion of minority businesses be linked to jobs, particularly for African Americans. If you look at every disparity study that exists, it's the same person at the bottom of it. It doesn't matter whether it's health or housing foreclosure or incarceration or education. And if you look at who gives them their next best opportunity in life, it's minority businesses. So the goal, Ms. Mayor, to increase minority businesses, Black-owned businesses in D.C. is not just a wealth building strategy or an asset development strategy. It's also a career and economic strategy as well.
Building off of what my esteemed colleagues just said, I think this is an area that the Workforce Investment Council is really proud to support. And as Antoine shared and as Stephen just shared, we know that our local businesses are even more likely to hire our residents, and they need help, they need support. And so these are places where the Workforce Investment Council is supporting intermediaries, bringing our employers to the table, helping connect them with our education and training organizations, our government partners, to make sure that what we're investing in our young people is what those employers need and that they have that pipeline of folks. And so through grant making and through a technical assistance grant that we're standing up this year, we want to help employers focus on skills-based hiring. We know our residents have the skills, they have limitless potential, but it's having employers be able to recognize that, cultivate that, and connect with it. And so I think that's an area where ensuring that businesses and people thrive comes into play.
Fantastic. Tanya?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and John, for having me here today. I just want to echo what I've been hearing about the opportunities for new industries here in the District of Columbia. I believe that when our communities thrive, our city will thrive, our businesses will thrive. And so the work that we've been doing at Children's National, at our research and innovation campus, to bring in the life sciences, and I was very, very happy to see the life sciences as one of the priority industries for this new economic comeback plan. We know for a fact that not only is there opportunities for thousands of new jobs, permanent jobs in the city, but well-paying jobs that are pathway to the middle-class jobs. And we need to be able to partner with Anna and her team at Workforce Investment Council and to work with our universities to help us to build the pipeline of people to fuel this new industry. It is an exciting opportunity where people can be involved in employment that actually is life-saving employment. And so the research and innovation opportunities, not only do we need like really smart scientists, but we need techs in these laboratories. We need people who can help us to do the research, to help write the reports, a myriad of job opportunities that exist with this new industry that is a hot industry, and we are primed to bring it here to the District of Columbia, especially when we partner together and also regionally in Maryland and Virginia.
Well, thanks for that point, because as you, Tanya, were speaking and what John said earlier reminded me of the groundwork and the work that it takes to get to this point where you have an innovation research hub at Walter Reed, and John is the first Vitality Fund recipient. So I just want to make sure everybody heard what they said. So John evidently met us at South by Southwest, where years ago we made a big bet on South by Southwest, having a huge presence to let everybody know that we do tech here. And we have music and fun, and people live here and pay their taxes here. And you don't have to live in Palo Alto. You can live in a great town on the East Coast filled with culture and smart people. So you can, not that they don't have that there, but I'm saying that's what we have, that's what we offer. But that was an economic development strategy and investment that is paying off. But also, in the case of children's locating, your Dr. Newman, visionary about this, participated in an economic mission that we took, the mayor and the council took to Canada to see what was happening there in terms of what J&J is doing, working with partners to incubate research and to bring that to DC. So that was another big investment many years ago that is built and is operating in Ward 4. So those are the types of strategies that to get to all of these things, we have to make investments. You've heard the phrase, you got to spend money to make money, or to get money, or investment to create jobs. These jobs are not going to create themselves. All right, so all of us utilizing the strategies that work and others that we haven't tried. I love what Rahama said. The beauty business, my goodness. Like if somebody would pick up my beauty tab, I would be happy. But like the beauty business is, and it is a great opportunity growth area. So please keep people engaged and posted about your work. I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs in beauty who have put their kids through college, owned homes, and helped other entrepreneurs in the beauty business. And I don't think we have our fair share of it. Like, we don't have our fair share. So what you're doing is going to help us and to help us get there. So thanks for those statements.
Mayor, I pause and hesitate about using one of the lines that you've used when we travel, either domestically or internationally, because I know the U.S. Conference of Mayors is coming here next week. But you've often said that we're Palo Alto with seasons. We're Boston without the snow. We're New York without those skyscrapers that block the sun. And we're Miami without... I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it there. So with that, I want to go to the next focus area, which is opportunity-rich neighborhoods. And this really matters because it really has an impact on outcomes. So I want to turn to Sharon, talk a little bit about what the research shows about residents who grow up in what we call a high opportunity neighborhood versus a low mobility neighborhood. And so we want to talk about that. And then I'm going to cue Councilmember Bonds and Councilmember Fruman to talk about why the housing goal is so important and the work ahead. So with that, we'll go to Sharon.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So numerous reports, a lot of research shows that one thing is really simple: where you live matters. It matters to your opportunities to earn a living. It matters to your life expectancy. And we have some really huge gaps in some of our neighborhoods in the district between our lowest mobility areas and our highest mobility areas. What we really believe in this strategy is that every single opportunity, every single neighborhood in DC needs to be a neighborhood of opportunity. And so one thing that is really, really fundamental to that is housing. We have been pursuing our 12,000 new affordable homes goal by 2025 relentlessly, thanks to your leadership, Mayor Bowser, and the leadership of many members of the council and investing in affordable housing over the last several years. But this is a moment to shift a little bit and really focus on some of those areas where we need to bring additional affordable housing. And I think we have some wonderful partners around the table who can help to make that happen.
Councilmember Bonds, you want to talk about the investments in housing that the district has made?
Well, as many of you probably know, affordable housing has been one of the biggest goals up until now. And that was, I like to say to the mayor, because I was there with her. Now she's focused on jobs. That's because I'm looking at jobs, and I'm looking at jobs.
I like the way you think.
I just had to put that in. That's a joke. Come on, you can giggle. But seriously, housing in the District of Columbia, you're exactly right, Sharon. It is about where you live and whether or not you feel you have opportunities. And so it is very important that when we think about housing going forward, that we make sure that you are close to an opportunity for employment. I know we're landlocked. We're a small little area. What is it, 69 square miles? But really and truly, when you talk to individuals, let's say in far southeast, many do not know much about Northwest or downtown. They just don't frequent that area. And so somehow we've got to figure out how do we put the jobs all around. And I love what you said, Mr. Ford, and what you've said, John. I think this is all great because it says to our population that there's a great opportunity to have impact where I live and almost to walk to where I live. Although I might be on my bike or scooter, but I can certainly walk to where I live, and I think that's really great. We have done good things with housing. The mayor probably hasn't tooted her horn much here, but you know, we've done more as a jurisdiction than any other part of the country. And we should, you know, hang our laurels on that, but so much more needs to be done with housing. But you can't have housing if you don't have a job. That's right. And that's why this new initiative is so important. And I think it's going to make a big difference. And Unique, I'm looking forward to us getting together. And you also, because you're in the apprenticeship program and you can advise us, you know, sincerely. All of this is very good. And I'm just thankful that I get to serve with my colleagues on the business committee, because that's where the action is as we move forward in our society here in the District of Columbia. We have to be focused on that. We must recover, and we must recover for those that live here, excuse me, and we have to decide, do we want to encourage more to come into our community that already have, you know, job potential, while we're also trying to get more who live here today to have an opportunity to a career. So I think it's like wave in and wave out. I think we want to make sure that we have a successful society here in the District of Columbia. Thank you, Mayor, for that.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Housing in Ward 3 is a particular challenge. The mayor has very ambitious goals for affordable housing in Ward 3, and we have not made a ton of progress towards those goals. And it's going to be really important for us to make that progress. It's not just about affordable housing, though. In Ward 3 came to look the way that it does because of intentional policies of expulsion and then segregation. And if we are going to change that, we have to be equally intentional about creating opportunities and a welcoming environment so that we bend the history that has been so negative. And so I am deeply committed to working with the mayor and the administration to try to do that over time. I'm going to cheat and go back to the last one a little bit. It relates to this, to opportunity-rich neighborhoods. One of the things that makes Ward 3 so attractive is the great schools. And what is critically important in every part of the city is that we have great matter-of-right schools that people know they can send their children to, that will take their children from pre-K through high school, and they can feel comfortable being where they are. That fits under a number of things. One of those things is that pipeline of talent, teaching the children so that they're in a position to get those jobs. Another is in recruitment of businesses. When businesses look at the city, they want to know that their workers are going to have a place to live where they can raise a family. So I would add, and the mayor has been great on this, and that we need to think about investment in our schools as an economic development investment. So thank you.
So before we move on to the next focus area, comments, questions? If not, what I'm going to do is go to thriving.
I have a question. Actually, just a statement. When I look at all the initiatives that we went over today, I think all of them are great, and I think that we have a lot of low-hanging fruit in terms of large-scale real estate development projects. And I think in order to make all the neighborhoods really as successful as we want them to be, we really need to leverage those large-scale projects to make sure that the community really is benefiting from that development, not only from an employment, but from a housing, from just the amenities that we talked about earlier. I think we can use these projects to really drive home that goal, and I think it'll help us jumpstart this, right, to really make sure that we're on target and we're working towards these. I don't want to call them ambitious goals, but there are goals that are sorely overdue.
You can call them ambitious. So let's go to the next, thank you for that. Let's go to the next focus area, which is thriving people. And there's a couple goals here, including a population goal. So let's go to Anita to talk about where we are in terms of population and how we get there.
Sure. So as Mayor Bowser shared, cities across the nation experienced downturn in population related to the pandemic, and we're coming out of that, and we're happy that we're coming out of that. People are coming back internationally, domestically as well. And what's important for us to do is just to make sure that we're understanding who's coming back and what their needs are, and making sure that when we look at opportunity-rich neighborhoods, that we're continuing to pursue that and ensure that as people come, they're able to, depending on where and what stage they are in their life and their employment, that they're able to find a pathway that allows them to stay here. And so one thing that's really important is just that piece around messaging, is that people are coming back to the district. We still have our competitive universities. We still have employers who are making big investments here, and so that is going to continue to be a draw. And so that's a kind of important piece. I can really nerd out on some data at the moment, but I will spare you all of that.
And Tiffany, talk a little bit about this focus area and the goals within it.
I think for me, thank you, Mayor Bowser and Deputy Mayor, for having me be here. I think for me, what's standing out about this and what's most exciting is not only the opportunity to attract new people to the district, but what I see here is the people who've been here and who've been in this community generationally to be able to take access and opportunity and bring that to their own communities. And I think that's something that's unique about this plan, is that is making sure that the people who've lived in the district generationally are not left behind, that they will be a part of the new prosperity and expanded prosperity that's coming to the district. And so whether that's through the educational opportunities or the business opportunities, I love the idea of the entrepreneurial piece. When I have the opportunity to speak to a lot of young people in Ward 7 and in Ward 8, all of them have entrepreneurial spirits. And so how do we cultivate that in young people so that they see themselves in the future here in DC?
Fantastic. So we're coming to the close of our program. That just means that the conversation around this table ends, but the work begins. So what we want to do is we want everybody to see the plan. It's at comeback.dc.gov. Very simple, comeback.dc.gov. If you go to that site, you're going to see a plan, and then we have an even extended version which has a lot of the data that we talked about today. So go to that site, comeback.dc.gov, and that's where you can find more information and really a check-in on where we are towards these goals, sort of where we start today, and then how we get to them. So with that, I want to turn it back to Mayor Bowser to close this out.
Well, thank you, John, and I want to thank everybody assembled here and the 1,000 people who participate in building this plan over the last year. I want to thank Sharon Carney and her team. I know she's been taking the lead on this at DMPED. And the council members, thank you. Our aim is to keep you up to date as we have seminal points in this plan, but also bring in people who are doing this type of work in other places in the country who are also on a comeback journey, so that we are learning from each other, but always keeping our eye on how do we make our city more vibrant, more inclusive, and stable revenue-wise, so that we can make the world-class investments that we're known for. So thank you, everybody.